it's lovely to see him smiling across the desk. And I'm talking, of course, about Des Lee. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Ivan. I'm well, thank you.
Good. Now, you and I have spoken on many occasions, but strangely enough, this is the first time we've actually done it in the flesh. It's always been on the phone.
That's
or
correct, yeah.
on one of those, as my mother used to refer to them, IS and DN lines. So here we are. I have to say, you're looking very well on it.
Thank you very much.
Very dapper indeed. And more like a man who'd be starting out rather than thinking of slowing down.
Oh, thank you, Ivan.
Now, you're here today because this is a week in your life which has been dominated by one thought since the event happened, when it's the 40th anniversary tomorrow.
That's correct.
Of what has become known as the Miami Showband massacre.
Correct.
Now, I know you've been questioned about this many times, and you know, I don't want to particularly go down the road of asking you questions that you've already answered hundreds of times, but one that I feel I must ask you, has it ever been made clear to you why this happened? Was it just a random act of violence, or do you think the Miami were targeted?
We were targeted, I believe, Ivan. This was well planned, probably months in advance. And I believe the reason for it was that the Miami Showband was the biggest band in that era, and they wanted maximum publicity for the massacre.
Yeah, I mean, for some of the younger people who are listening who weren't around like you and I in the heydays of the show bands, I mean, the show bands at the peak of their fame was an absolutely massive multi-million pound business. And it was like, people these days tend to go out once a week. Mm-hmm. Back in those days, I mean, you guys were playing 5-6 nights a week.
We often played, Ivan, 30 nights in a trot without a day off.
Yeah.
And we were known as the Irish Beatles.
Yeah.
In our heyday.
And that was just such a special time. I mean, we think about those big ballrooms around the country, you know, like the one at Sea Point outside Galway.
Galway, that's right. That was our last gig before the massacre.
Is that right?
That's right. We actually were
amazing that I should just come into my head.
Yeah. No, we were actually playing at Sea Point. It was for the Galway races, which is currently on at the moment.
Yeah.
And we would play the Galway races every year. And on that day that we were playing in Galway, we got word that Tom Dunphy from the Royal Showband had been killed in a car accident going to Galway to meet up with Brendan Boyer, because they were going to be playing the night after us. And the whole talk the way home to Dublin from Sea Point was all about Tom Dunphy and his family, his wife and children, not knowing 24 hours later 3 of our lads would be dead.
Now, you played in the Castle Ballroom in Banbridge. You were travelling back to Dublin. Now, Ray Miller didn't travel with the band. I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm assuming it's because he was from a family in Antrim. I knew his brother Ronnie, who had a record shop.
That's right.
And I assume because it was so close, he decided to go home and see the family. Is that?
That's correct. Ray travelled back after Banbridge, straight back to Antrim, where he was living at the time.
Right, okay. So he wasn't in the truck. You guys are going along on a journey you've done loads of times. Tell me what happened.
We left the ballroom in Banbridge. It was called the Castle Ballroom. And we did what we normally do after every gig, speak to the fans, sign autographs. Then we'd have a cup of tea, prepare ourselves to get on the road. We left heading for Dublin. We were stopped at what we thought was a normal road check. And we thought nothing of it because we were used to so many roadblocks. And we were asked to get out of the van. We were lined up against the ditch. And we were asked questions like age, date of birth, name, where you're living, all the usual questions. And then I asked, could I go to the van and get my saxophone and put it out in the road, which I did. They allowed me to do that. And instead of going to where I was in the lineup, I was third on the left. I actually stood last in the line, closest to the actual our minibus. I wasn't aware at that time that two of the guys were putting a 10-pound bomb into the van, and all of a sudden there was an explosion, gunfire, screaming, crying, shouting, and I was thrown into the ditch with the explosion of the minibus, and I lay down in the grass. I'd done that after watching GI movies about Vietnam. The Americans would do that, and I lay down in the grass, face down, held my breath as long as I could, and I could hear the commotion all around me, but the minibus in the explosion had set the ditch on fire. And as the fire came close to me, I realised I'm going to have to run. And I called out Fran, Bran and Tony. I got no response. Then I called Stephen. Stephen was moaning. I knew he was still alive. And I ran up onto the ditch, onto the main road to try and get into Newry Police Station.
And you tried to hitch a lift, and there was with a lorry, and it didn't stop. But a young couple stopped and gave you a lift into Newry. Am I right here?
That's
on
correct.
This?
That's right, Ivan.
And have you ever met those people since?
No, we're actually appealing currently for anyone that knows who they are to come forward, because I'd love to meet them.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
love to meet them.
You owe them a lot.
A lot.
Now, you at that time were injured. It's not like you were just thrown into the ditch. You had shrapnel or something in your leg.
I had shrapnel in my knee, yes. And the young couple took me into Newry Police Station. And from there, they took me to Daisy Hill Hospital to have my knee looked at. And from there, back to the police station again to tell them exactly what happened on that night. And also to draw up an identikit, and which I did. And it was very, very close, actually, to one of the men that was arrested.
Now, when did you actually find out that 3 of your closest friends were dead?
Later that morning, probably around about midday.
Uh-huh.
I got into the police station around about, I would say it was 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And the following morning, I was told exactly who was killed.
So it was Brian McCoy, and there was Tony Gaggerty,
yes,
and of course Fran O'Toole.
Yep.
Now at that stage, Fran O'Toole, I mean, there was the big songs like Clap Your Hands, Stamp Your Feet, and those. But he had a song out, Shine On. Shine On. There's a ballad. Love is warm, love is sweet.
That's
love
it. Yeah,
is.
the song is actually called Love Is.
Love Is. Yeah.
I wrote that with Fran.
You wrote that,
Yeah.
did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I had a record shop at the time in Belfast. People were saying to me, "This is going to be the one that turns Fran O'Toole into a star beyond Ireland."
Correct.
I mean, so all of this happened, and it was a double tragedy from that point of view as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, 12 weeks after that, Ivan, Fran was due to go to Las Vegas to a music convention to be launched as a solo entertainer.
Yeah.
And I personally believe he would have been a world star because he had the looks, he had the voice, and he was a brilliant musician.
Yeah.
And me as a songwriting partner, I was looking at this as, wow, what's this going to, come to in the end?
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to doing a lot of songwriting with Fran and hopefully get that break, but it wasn't to be.
No. So how did you pick yourself up after this? How did you say to yourself, right, I'm going to lift this saxophone, I'm going to go back onto this stage, I'm going to perform in the light of what had happened? How long did that process take?
It took about 6 months for us to get back on the road again, but Ivan, it wasn't the same. Looking around the stage and not seeing Fran, Bran and Tony just wasn't the same to me. And I only lasted about 9 months in the new Miami at that stage, and I left to form my own band.
And did you play here, or did you at that stage go away to South Africa?
Well, I didn't feel safe in coming back to play, for example, in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
We played mostly in the south of Ireland. But then it came to a stage where I really wasn't very, very happy at all in the music industry in Ireland. And I decided to emigrate.
Yeah.
So I emigrated to South Africa for 23 years.
Yeah. I mean, things were changing anyway, weren't they, for the show bands? And country was becoming much more prevalent in the Irish band scene.
That's right.
And social habits changed too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
I mean, the ballrooms, people find this incredible, but it was just like we accepted it. The ballrooms were not licensed.
Yes.
If you wanted a drink, you couldn't get anything better than an orange in a ballroom.
Yeah, that's right.
So you go, that was changing. People wanted to go to venues where they could have a drink and be entertained as well. There was the rise of cabaret. There was all of that. So, considering what had happened to you was reason enough to go to South Africa. But it was probably a good time anyway.
It was a good time. That was at the 1982. We were having a recession. So the industry had changed a lot. And I decided, as I say, to go to South Africa. My sister was living there before me, and she told me how a wonderful country it was. And as I say, I spent 23 years there, but I'm now back in Belfast for good.
Where you started.
Back where I started.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was saying to a friend of mine the other day, I used to remember as a kid walking past the Opera House in Belfast and seeing all these big stars, Cliff Richard and all that, not knowing that one day I would actually stand on that stage in Belfast and the next day be on the front page of the Belfast Telegraph.
And that was as big, it sounds like it's still as big a thrill as it was back then when it happened.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah. The Miami are doing a final concert. Tell us about that.
We're doing it's Linen Fields, and we're doing that in August.
That's in Banbridge, the Linen Fields Festival.
Yeah, that's right. Well, isn't it funny that we're going back to the place where it all happened, Banbridge?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're looking forward to that concert. But there's a lot of things going on at the moment. I've for example, on Saturday in Dublin, at the Monument in Dublin, which is in Parnell Square, we have a wreath laying ceremony.
Yes.
And then on Sunday, we're having another wreath laying ceremony at Buskill.
Yeah, that's the scene of the shootings.
That's correct, yes.
Isn't it? Yeah. And that's this coming Sunday at 2:30.
Yes, 2 o'clock. I think it is 2 o'clock.
Well,
yeah, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Yes, sorry
okay.
about that, Ivan.
No problem. So that's happening at Buskill on Saturday. So any fans of the Miami who are around and available, it's not a private ceremony, is it?
No, it's open to the public.
Yes.
As I say, it'll be on Sunday. On Saturday we are in Dublin, Sunday at Buskill.
Yeah, and it's important that this should be remembered. I mean, whenever the book came out and everything, it was heading towards the 40 years. And, it has been something that I'm sure, people say time is a great healer, but it never goes away, does it?
That will never go away. I wake up every morning in my apartment. I've got photographs of the lads on my wall.
Yeah.
So I see it every day of my life.
Yeah, but you've learned how to live with it.
I've learned how to live with it, yeah.
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 Des, I do appreciate you coming in and speaking so frankly. I'm also delighted to see you with a smile on your face.
Yeah, thanks, Ivan. I'd just like to say that we have the monument now in Parnell Square in Dublin, and the bridge in Bray has been renamed Fran O'Toole Bridge.
Yeah, I read about that. That's fabulous.
Yeah. And then outside the house that he was born, they put a blue plaque.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm aiming for now, I want a monument in Belfast for the lads.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
And there were so many supporters here, and as Phil Lynott used to call them, the supporters, fans. There's so many fans of the Miami here. And is this definitely going to be the last gig?
I'm an entertainer. It keeps me alive.
Yeah.
And as long as I can stand on a stage and sing and play a saxophone, I intend to do it, whether that's with the Miami or not.
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
That's what I wanted to hear. Des Lee, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
You. Thanks.
No matter how near or far you're going this summer, be a smart mover and take TransLink to the airport. Departing from every 15 minutes for £7.50 single, or just £25 for a family return ticket. Take TransLink to Belfast International Airport. And for £2.50 single, departing from every 20 minutes, we'll take you to George Best Belfast City Airport. So make the smart move and catch an Airport Express service from Europa Bus Centre. Visit translink.co.uk for details. TransLink, let's go together.
Are you tired of being tired and need a new mattress? Or is it time to buy a new sofa? Then don't miss the Harvey Norman Sofas, Beds and Mattress half-yearly clearance. Contemporary fabric sofas from just $279. Recliner sofas from only $525. Irish-made memory foam mattresses from $199. And solid pine double bed frames from only $179. Plus up to 3 years interest-free. Available with 0% APR. Harvey Norman Sofas, Beds and Mattress half-yearly clearance. Now on.
Tennent's Vital Festival presents The Script, Codaline, Annie Mac, Clean Bandit and Jack Savaretti. Boucher Road Playing Fields, Belfast, Sunday, August 30th, subject to licence. Find out first at facebook.com/tenantsvital. Tickets on sale now. Tennent's Vital. For the facts, visit drinkaware.co.uk.
This is Dom from Insure and Go.
There's a beach in a field in Spain. In a field. It's actually a sinkhole that's flooded with a sandbank. Despite being 320 feet away from the sea, the field beach is fully tidal because it has a series of underground caves that are connected to the sea. Imagine having a lovely country walk, then, oh, a beach.
Dom loves a travel fact and he cares about your travel insurance too. So visit insureandgo.com. Insure and Go. Take us away with you.
We went for a meal at Woolsey's. Dad's pockets are down to his knees. But kids eat free, so that suits me. Now we can go back to Woolsey's.
Woolsey's Restaurant Banger. Kids eat free every day before 7 p.m. with paying adults.
You can't beat a bit of quality. You can't beat a bit of Brennan's.